And we're live.
Hello, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, welcome.
It's been a minute.
It has. We're terrible people and we missed last week.
We had to, bro. Fights. Had some UFC fights, man.
I was about to say, without phrasing it properly, it just sounds like
Yeah.
you got into a brawl.
Yeah, we had we fought. You know how it is. Tore up half the fucking podcast room. You know,
Yeah, I had to go get some insurance.
started discussing which Star Wars movie is the worst one, and you know how that goes. Which one? Okay, I always get in a fight about this. Which one's the worst Star Wars movie?
Objectively?
What's the worst? I didn't ask you that. I asked you what's the worst Star Wars movie. Just give me your hard answer. The one you would not watch.
I don't really like any of the new ones.
I didn't really like any of the new ones either, but they're not the worst. I would go and watch those before I watch this one, is what I'm about to say.
Ooh, I don't know what that would be then.
What's yours is the question.
Force Awakens.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the best one of the new trilogy. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Last Jedi is... They were trying something.
It's a close tie, but I mean, like...
I think Rise of Skywalker is the worst Star Wars movie, but that's not my answer.
No, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
Because
You're right.
everything it sets up in that movie is rushed, stupid, and But the worst Star Wars movie is Attack of the Clones. I always get Phantom Menace. That's my thing. And people think that Phantom Menace is bad. Phantom Menace is bad. But Phantom Menace is bad as The Room is bad. It's bad in all the right ways.
I guess.
It's stupid. Everything it sets up is both dumb and also kind of fun. Like it sets up one of the most liked characters ever, Darth Maul. Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon, Phantom Menace is fine to me, I think, but Attack of the Clones is a you like the ending to Attack of the Clones. You don't like the movie.
You shut your whore mouth.
I'll say.
You shut your goddamn mouth.
When was the last time you watched that movie, genuinely?
No.
We need to watch. Can I have one?
You can.
I don't
There
want
you
the
go.
grape one, though.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'll take the grape one.
Oh, okay.
When was the last time you watched Attack of the Clones? Honestly.
Honestly watched it probably about 11 years ago.
When I tell you, it is the most boring, whiny slog ever with the best last 45 minutes. The scene on Genesis is awesome. I will give you that. But man, when Anakin and Padme are just
chilling.
Just hanging out for an hour, force pushing apples into her face.
Fuck, I forgot that there's just a whole scene while Obi-Wan's on the planet with all the clones and
When
shit.
he's dying to Boba Fett.
Yeah, they
Or
just kind of
Jango Fett.
keep switching back and forth between Anakin just being a whiny ass bitch and
Obi-Wan getting all the work done.
damn.
But
I hate that you've pointed this out to me.
Clone Wars makes up for it. The series. I don't know if you finished the series.
I saw the animated movie when it came out on Cartoon Network,
Oh no.
and I've seen 3 episodes.
Oh no. We need to watch that.
Yeah, we do.
Especially the last season. Because you watch the show from where it left off and you're like, there's still a lot they have to do. And then the last season,
It's like, holy shit, they got it all done.
they do Revenge of the Sith in that season. Ooh. Yeah, with Ahsoka there, and it's so good. Have you watched The Mandalorian at all? Are you caught up on that?
Oh, yeah.
Spoilers, future ahead. I haven't watched the series. I just know everything that's been happening in the series.
Wait. You're trying to tell me you haven't seen The Mandalorian?
No, I don't. Bro, trust me, I know. Every single human being on Earth. It's like Game of Thrones was when Game of Thrones first came out. It's like, bro, you're not watching Game of Thrones?
How are you even living?
But I go on to shows late, man. Especially since Game of Thrones scarred me the way it did. Poor. No, we were talking about this the other day, where or the last podcast, I think, where we were talking about the books of Game of Thrones comparatively to the movie, to the show.
Yeah, because I think you said that you only read like the first book or something like that.
I read the first book, yes, which entails like the first 5 seasons.
Oh,
It's like an 800-page book. It's like a fucking Bible.
oh, I see.
And when I tell you I read it in like 3 days, I'm not even all joking. It was good, man. I wanted to read more. Listen, man, when you're a prepubescent boy, and you're reading about, knights, magic, and basically what equivalates to, mom light novels, like, Fabio on the front and shit. 50 Shades of Grey, but medieval times. Like, I mean, that's essentially what you're getting.
50 Shades of Grey armor.
50 Shades of Grayscale. But yeah, like, bro, Attack of the Clones is... There's nothing there. You have the cool Genesis scene where Jango Fett gets his fucking head cut off, which is really funny. It's super, like, not necessary at all. It sets up, Boba Fett, which, I mean, he needed to be set up, but at the same time, it's fucking, like, really brutal. And, like, not the Jedi way at all.
It's Mace Windu. Does he really care, though?
Talking about the same actor who said, I want my lightsaber to be purple because...
Because fuck you.
And an entire book was written based on why his... God, have we talked about the books?
We shouldn't. There's too many.
There's so many books, and the canonicity of them ranges from fan fiction to
I don't like this already.
to they're going to be making movies out of it.
That's
One of my favorite books is called Darth Revan. He's and I might be wrong on this. Please don't crucify me. But I'm pretty sure he is the Jedi that forms the Grey. The Sith, rather, that forms the Grey. You know about the Grey, right?
yeah, they're supposed. If I'm not mistaken, aren't they like the Assassin Order or something like that?
Not kind of, but they're in the middle.
I say they're the ones with the yellow sabers, or
No.
orange sabers, or
Saber. So this is where I was talking about Mace Windu. We discover where people get their colors from. It does not come from your order. It comes from your destiny. People with blue lightsabers usually have destiny of what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically protagonist energy. Good or bad, it's just protagonist energy. It's why, and they explain it because they're like, it's not always good because Anakin had a blue lightsaber.
true.
But and then green is like the teacher. Like the
Okay.
like Qui-Gon, Yoda, Obi-Wan. Whenever he gets in the third movie, does he have a green lightsaber in the third movie?
He's
I know he gets the one in
maybe.
I know he gets one in Does he have a green lightsaber ever? I can't remember if he had one in A New Hope.
I do not remember.
I don't think he did. Nevertheless, yeah, green means like the teacher. Red means passion, I think. I think red means like strong beliefs, which usually equals evil because, you're not willing to back down on your beliefs. But there are cases where this means good, like Darth Revan and Kylo.
Yeah.
Darth Revan has a red lightsaber and a purple lightsaber. And purple is what you find out in this movie. Why is it purple? What does purple mean? Because obviously purple is a mix of red and blue.
Yeah.
So what the fuck does that mean? And basically what it means is that you have an open choice. That you don't have a destiny. Your destiny is for you to make. You know what I mean? So like Mace Windu the whole time, he had we go through his backstory, and he had confronted Palpatine. I don't remember. He confronted a Sith Lord. And a Sith Lord wanted him to join him, become his number two, because you know the rule of twos, right?
Yes.
Where there's one Sith, there always has to be two. Which is why I still to this day explain how Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord, and I will get into that.
No, that's too deep of a rabbit hole. We shouldn't.
I-
No, don't do it.
I will get into it.
No.
Okay, so
Misa evil.
okay, so yeah. Long story short, Mace Windu was just free to choose his own fate. So was partially Darth Revan. Nevertheless, if you go through the movies, especially the prequels that everybody says are not good,
They're good.
I like the prequels. I don't think they're good. I think I like them though. Revenge of the Sith is good. Revenge of the Sith has the best score in all of Star Wars. At me, bitch. At me. Fight me about this one. But if you go through all of the movies thinking that Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord the whole time, you will love the prequels. Because it makes too much sense as you're watching the movies with all the fuck ups he does on they become on purpose. And if they're on purpose, it makes sense on how he's such a fucking screw up. Because it's not like what's his race called? Gungan?
Yes.
It's not like a Gungan trait. Like all the Gungans are normal. They walk normal. They don't fucking stumble upon each other, you know? They're actually kind of warriors, you know? But he's just this babbling moron who's also allowed counsel from the King Gungan. What? Wait, what? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Wait, how was he elected? Even though
A representative
of the Senate of the galaxy for Naboo, after they almost killed him for being so stupid. Wait a minute. Something's not adding up here. Like, you just start piecing these things together. Like, sure that maybe they wanted to keep him in the movies, but then this is where the rabbit hole gets opened.
Oh no.
The rule of two. There always has to be a second Sith Lord, right? We know that Palpatine had Darth Maul from the first movie, right? That's two. Who's alive at that time that we don't find out until the new movies? Snoke. So let me ask you this. Where's our second Sith Lord? Where's our fourth Sith Lord? It's fucking Jar Jar Binks, bitch.
You stop this. You stop this right now.
It has to be Jar Jar Binks. It's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only other character that you would associate a Sith Lord with. Now, you could make the argument that Palpatine, if Darth Maul didn't die, would have made Darth Maul Snoke's apprentice. Sure, maybe. But with the inclusion of Snoke, this confirms the theory, I think. At least for me. And what does this entail? I don't know.
Good talk.
Because, one, we never know the age of Gungans or their life expectancy. I'm sure there's probably a fucking book that tells you.
Oh, definitely.
Database or something. Excuse me. I'm eating delicious.
I'm eating delicious.
I'm eating delicious. I'm eating delicious non-named candies right now. But let's say, hypothetically, they live for a long time. And Disney really, really wanted to make some money. I'm just saying, if they made it, I would come.
Oh my god.
Listen, you're not a real Star Wars fan if you did not watch a movie or watch a trailer and see Jar Jar Binks pull out a fucking red lightsaber.
Oh my god.
And I wouldn't want them to keep him like stupid. Give him like
in trouble.
no, give him like a really deep fucking evil voice, like he's been really like he's been playing you the whole time. Tell me that wouldn't be the sickest thing ever, though. Like, because then you would go back and it would make so much money because they have Disney Plus now, right?
Okay.
They get paid on subscriptions. They also get paid on views. You know, when people are using their site, they make money off of it, you know?
Yep.
If you go back and make Jar Jar Binks a Sith Lord, that gives someone incentive to watch all 9 movies with this idea in mind. And
Also known as it gives us the idea to watch all 9 movies.
well, we still got to. We watched the first 4, right? Did we watch the? Did we watch it the Machete way?
Huh?
We didn't watch it the Machete way. Then have I told you about this?
No.
The true story of Anakin Skywalker. How you're supposed to watch the first 6 movies. You go 1. I think you go 1, 4, 2, 5, 6, 3. I'm pretty sure that's how you watch it. I can't remember. Or it's either that or it's 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6. Or no, 5, 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, 6. Yeah, that's it. That's
The fuck do the numbers mean, Mason?
so you watch the first movie to get established on the Jedi world. Because that's where they explain midichlorians. That's where they explain, you know, I don't fucking know. What does that movie explain? The rule of 2. It sets up Palpatine as a villain. It sets up Obi-Wan Kenobi, who you discover in that movie, so you know who that is. But it doesn't really tell you anything about Anakin. That movie's not about Anakin. It's about... It really doesn't have a main character. Who can you name as the main character of that movie? Really, Padme, if anybody. If you like, there's really no main characters in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of, which is, I like that. I like that there's no, like, central main character. Like, because it's not Obi-Wan. Even though it technically is Obi-Wan, it's not Obi-Wan. Like, but yeah, you watch the first movie for that. And then you watch 4 and 5. 4 will set you up for the new world. Like, it kind of, like, puts in perspective, like, okay, you see 1. You haven't been introduced to clone troopers yet. So stormtroopers still look like, huh. You know, they're still, like, got that baffling feel to them. And you get set up into this new world of a war, you know, like an actual Star War, you know, because in the first movie, there's not a war yet. So, like, it sets you up for that. You know, you watch Ben Kenobi die, which if you hadn't from the first, or you wouldn't be able to piece it together from the first movie that that's Obi-Wan, because up at the ending of that movie says that he's Anakin's master, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you watch 4 and 5 to get set up into the new world, and then you watch 2 and 3 to hear the story of Anakin. How does 5 end?
5 is
I am your father.
Yeah.
You learn about his father with 2 and 3. You learn about the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker. And then you finish it off with 6, the return of the Jedi. As in the third movie, what happens at the end?
Darth Vader.
The death of the Jedi. They kill them all out.
Yep.
And then 6 is called the return of the Jedi. Not Rise of Skywalker. God, no.
Fuck no.
I don't know how the new movies play into the Machete. I don't think they do.
They don't.
I think you just watch those movies and then...
I gotta say, my
79.
favorite of the new movies, though, is Rogue One.
Oh, don't talk about Rogue One. Rogue One's the best Star Wars movie. Don't at me. Rogue One is easily better, and I'm gonna fucking step on some toes, easily better than any of the prequels. And
yes,
I like it more than 4, 5, and 6. I like it more than Empire.
than Emperor.
I like it more than Empire. I think Rogue One is the best piece of Star Wars media that we have received in a long time. Oh my God, that movie is so, you know what's my favorite part about it? You know, you can tell, you know what's my favorite part about it. It's dark as fuck.
Yes, it's
dark.
so dark.
It's dark from the beginning, and it's not dark in a way that like the new movies try to be dark.
No, it's just melancholy all the way through.
Yeah, there's comedy, but it's not like it's not turning. You know what I mean? It doesn't steer you off the cliff. You know, like K-20, the new robot.
Yeah.
He's a comic relief character, but like he doesn't steer you off the fucking cliff. Like,
No.
Is that Jennifer Lawrence in that movie?
I
Is that Hunger Games lady?
I don't remember. That might be.
I can't remember any actor from that movie. except for the blind Jedi guy, because he was so fucking sick. But like, man, that movie is just so good.
Man, I saw it in theaters, and let me tell you, I wasn't ready for the whole planet to just kind of get nuked and all the characters die. I wasn't ready for that.
I mean, you kind of had to figure it because who the fuck are there's only two things that could have happened. Oh, we'll talk about it in a second. Let's keep talking. We're gonna. Whoo, I'm getting chills thinking about it.
I don't like this.
But you kind of knew that was gonna happen because who are these characters? This is set before 4, 5, and 6. So if they're alive in the new movies, they old because remember Luke is like 16 in the first movie in New Hope.
Yeah,
He's a young boy. He's a young strapping lad. All right, can we talk about the best scene in Rogue One and the best scene in Star Wars, bar none, where they redo the New Hope scene?
Yes.
Oh, I love
And they
that
give
scene.
Darth Vader
The justice.
balls.
They give him the justice. That's what they do. Because I've been a firm believer that I don't understand how Darth Vader became such an icon. He doesn't fucking do anything. Cool. Like, he does things in the movie, sure. Like, he's kind of a presence. You talk shit on him, he chokes you the fuck out. That's cool, you know? But, like, his fight with Ben Kenobi is just kind of like lightsaber. And then Luke shows up and he's like, Ben. And Ben looks over and he just hits him in the arm. And then he just fucking disappears.
Damn, that Thanos snap really do reach the galaxies.
And then he has the cool fight with Luke, but it's not really that impressive.
Like, he throws a whole bunch of shit at him.
Yeah, like the thing is that when Anakin becomes Darth Vader, he creates more of like, and this gets explained. That we'll talk about comic book Darth Vader in a minute.
That's a dangerous one.
Comic book Darth Vader is a fucking monster. But he develops like a Shumpo stance, or not Shumpo, Kendo stance.
Yeah.
Like basically just a strong, firm base, very limited movement, you know. But Anakin used to be, wild. He used to fucking flipping shit. That was Anakin style, and it's symbolism. Like, one, that there was no fucking way that the 7-foot dude was going to be doing that in all that suit of armor, with all that shit. But also, it makes sense because when Anakin was young, he didn't know really what he wanted. So his style would be more wild, and then now he's concise and he knows what he's doing. He'd be more practical. But that's just kind of now in retrospect, this is what we put together. It's just kind of like that. But he doesn't really do anything in the new the original trilogy. He's not that special. He's cool. And for the trilogy, he's dope. Don't get me wrong. But in retrospect, it's But then Rogue One tells you, yo, this is the guy who killed 100 fucking younglings. This is the guy who slaughtered Jedi for fun.
This is an imposing power.
This isn't like a soldier. This is
a murderer.
Not even a murder. This is a weapon. This is he is. I love that. They do the thing that they do best with that scene is make it modern. They cut out all the fucking lights. They get it real quiet and ambionic, and then you just hear that lightsaber crackle, the red glow tinting above Darth
all
Vader.
The haze. And,
all the gun smoke and stuff like that. It just fit. It's just so good. We gotta watch that scene afterwards. That scene makes me do bad things.
This scene will make me act up.
But that like we were talking about with comic book Darth Vader, it poses evil. He's evil in the comics. He's dope. He's badass. There's a scene where he gets surrounded by a bunch of rebels or something like that. They're like, "Surrender, Vader. We have you surrounded." And he's like, "All I'm surrounded by is dead," or he says, "idiots or morons and dead men." And it's you
win. And I just walk out.
surrounded, but he doesn't care because he knows he can take him. He's not scared. It's heavily implied that at any point, Anakin could have killed Palpatine. Like, Anakin clearly is... He overcame the Force lightning, which we hadn't seen in the original trilogy the first time. But it incapacitated Luke easily. And then we see that it nearly kills Mace Windu the moment he comes in contact with it.
It does a hell of a lot to Yoda.
It hurts Yoda. Like, all these powerful Jedi figures get incapacitated and nearly dead to this Force lightning. And then Anakin picks this motherfucker up while being Force lightning and throws him on a fucking pylon into space, and he lives somehow. I don't know.
Somehow.
I don't care. I get that they want, like, here's the thing about the new movies that really sucks. They had to have a villain. And what villain imposes more of a threat than fucking Emperor Palpatine? Like, I get it.
Big Bird.
They wanted to do Snoke. They watched Last Jedi. Nobody was happy with Snoke. I get it. I understand.
I can name a whole bunch of people more imposing. Oscar the Grouch.
Palpatine's definitely imposing, especially in that movie. He's practically a fucking zombie. He's practically a lich.
Yeah.
He's really just a lich in that movie. He's kind of like a sentient brain, like that moves lips sometimes. But like, that's super. And the scene that he gets introduced is dope, with the fucking like really quiet Imperial March scene, with all those Star Destroyers getting fucking risen from the dead and shit. It's cool. Does it make it any more memorable? No. That's the problem. The reason Emperor Palpatine is in that movie is because he's so memorable to the other movies. You see him become this evil demon from the first to the third movie. 4 through 6, you see his imposing wrath as King of the Galaxy, as Emperor Palpatine, you know? And then in the new movies, he comes in the last movie and just serves as the villain, like the plot device.
He's an asthmatic puppet sitting in a wheelchair.
Yeah, like, the new movies bring about one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars, though. Ben Solo. Kylo Ren. He is one of the best written Star Wars characters ever. Because he's has every right to be evil. Every right. He was training under Luke Skywalker, his uncle. And his uncle almost killed him in his sleep. The one man who was teaching him the light side of the Force, he watches him about to kill him. Like, listen, I'm not saying that grooming children is okay at all. But if you were to be groomed as a child, and that person who was grooming you tried to kill you, you would probably have resentment.
Probably, maybe.
Towards the Jedi Order. Now, grooming is a strong word there, but it's kind of the same thing when it comes to Jedi powers, because you have to be fully, like, fully give in to your the master and just trust everything they say. That's why there's obviously, if anything exists in the Star Wars universe, there's a book about it. Like, we learn about Qui-Gon's wife and Luke Skywalker's wife that did the, stupid shit. But yeah, like, you have to give in fully to your master to truly realize the potential of your Force, right? So you have to fully give your emotions, your love, really. Like, he had to respect and love Luke to death to be able to train under him, be able to lift fucking X-Wings out of swamps. I feel like that's what he did. He just went back to the Dagobah. He was like, all right, your first day, pick the fucking X-Wing up. Huh? I'm 6.
That sucks to suck.
Well, you're not getting food till then. But yeah, like, he lifts the fucking X-Wing, but yeah, like, Ben Solo, Kylo Ren is every right justified to hear, and then once he almost gets killed by Luke, he, runs off to go join the First Order, yada, 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 rebuilds the Empire, yada, yada, yada. It makes sense that he would idolize Vader / Anakin. Because, one, he represented the stalwart evil of the Force. He represents that. He's not that, but he represents that. That he's like, let's be honest here. Darth Vader was the mascot. Other than being strong, what was Vader there for? He wasn't a politician. He choked out anybody he talked to. If you disagreed with him, he choked you out. That's why Palpatine sent him. He was just like, if they don't agree, choke him. I don't give a fuck.
Are you sure?
I'm Bob.
Do it.
Fucking positive. But, yeah, Kylo would go my uncle tried to kill me in my sleep because I was going to be too strong. Which, by the way, Luke should know. I guess he probably did know that, the Force happens no matter what. You can't, the prophecy that he was scared of, he created on his own, you know what I mean? And that's because the Force happens no matter what. That's one of the best parts about the prequels, is that when they bring Anakin in, he's known as the boy who will balance the Force. None of these fucking Jedis realize that they haven't seen a Sith Lord in fucking 8 years. And they're like, he's going to balance the Force. I wonder what that means. Wait, we're a Jedi Order and there's no Sith Lords. Huh.
Well, there's also no right or wrong for either of them because, there's no right for either side because we are going to balance the Force by making it all good.
The Jedi aren't good guys.
No.
They are crazy, crazy zealot monks.
With laser swords.
Yes, with laser swords. They are not immensely. I still stand by the fact that the Empire did nothing wrong. What did the Empire do? They're a little mean, but they brought peace, technically, other than the rebels.
Yeah.
Let's look at it this way. Who's the villain in the first movie? The main arcing villain? The Trade Federation. A corporation that mass-produced androids and tried to take over the world. What stops another company from doing that? What stops another thing from doing that? A fucking overarching, galaxy-wide republic empire. The Senate didn't want that. Palpatine knew that that's what had to happen. Palpatine's not a bad guy. The Sith are not evil. They have strong, compassionate beliefs. And there has to be a villain in a story. The only reason that they look evil and call their shit Star Destroyers and shit like that is because there has to be a villain in a story. The Empire does nothing wrong. And I always get brought up this.
Okay, hold on. Yes, they do. They do kind of just blow up.
Alderaan?
Yeah.
What is Alderaan?
Fuck, man, I don't remember.
The rebel stronghold.
I know, but they just
kind of... How is that
kinda...
any different than America blowing up a random fucking Middle East country?
I don't say it's right. I don't encourage us to do it.
It's not a good thing, but it's a necessary thing. Because, like I said, there's technical peace. The Empire's strict, but they're fair. You know? They don't really... Until the new movies, they don't really, go about fucking killing people for no reason. The First Order does for some reason. But they hold a pretty, honest thing. And then we start seeing them devolve a little bit into killing innocent people because, they have to be more evil than the last movie, So
yeah, because in the start of the new trilogy, they just go into a village and just start shooting.
Yep.
It's there's one dude here, so let's kill the entire fucking village.
Yeah, and that's what they did with Uncle Ben, Luke's godparents.
Yeah.
They kill them because, Luke is working with Ben Kenobi that they know, It's heavily implied that they knew that Ben Kenobi was on Tatooine the whole time. They just didn't care. I mean, he'd been there for so long.
Yeah.
Like he had been there for so long. Why do we care? Like, they could have easily gone and killed them, but they just didn't care. Which, to be fair, probably was their downfall. If they had just gone and killed Obi-Wan, they would have fucking ended it. But I still to this day say that the Empire really didn't do anything wrong. Nothing wrong enough to where they're the overarching evil, and the Jedis are just the good guys. Jedis are not good guys. Jedis are just crazy. But it makes for a good story.
Yeah, I guess.
Me and Natalie started watching Pirates of the Caribbean.
We stopped on the third movie.
You finished the third movie, or you haven't watched?
We finished it.
We just finished the third one last night.
Let me point out, I genuinely forgot that the Pirates of the Caribbean were Disney movies. Because holy shit, they are so unbelievably dark.
They're good. These movies were before Disney started caring about an overarching kind of how well will this sell to every demographic. They wanted to hit a demographic here. They hit it when we were, teenagers, and it makes them last longer. I would easily we gave At World's End a lot of shit.
I love At World's End.
I don't think it's anywhere close to the first two movies.
Dead Man's Chest is easily my favorite. Easily.
Dead Man's Chest is the best.
But everyone I talk
all the
to
callbacks
is
to
like...
that because okay, so here's the thing you have to understand about Dead Man's Chest. That movie came out a very long time after the first movie.
It did. It came out in 2006 or 7.
It was like 7, and then the first movie came out in like 2001. But then the
I had it on
World's End
VHS.
came out like 3 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
So that had the longest time between it. So they had to remind people of what happened in the last movie because fucking 6 years had passed. But they do it in such a non-condescending last time on, they give you everything you need to know. They get that opening scene. Where Jack's in a prison and he, that scene is like, okay, what's happening? And then they introduce you back to all the characters like that. And they get, the opening scene is Will and Elizabeth in the rain on their wedding day.
Yep, and they get arrested.
They get arrested by Beckett, the new villain, who's a great villain, immensely good villain. And he,
they're told to go get Jack. Because...
Yeah, they're given an ultimatum and stuff like. Well, not at that point. Then we get introduced. We basically get where are our heroes? And then there's small things that get you brought back up that movie, like the small symbolism and things. Like in that movie, there's 3 different instances where Jack is in a coffin.
Really?
He starts the movie in a coffin. Whenever they're doing the wheelbarrow fight, right before the wheelbarrow starts, he falls into a grave.
Okay.
And then there's another scene where he's in a coffin, or he's in a I forget what it is, but he's in he dies at the end of the movie. There's that symbolism, the whole movie that he is going into a grave, and then he dies at the end. They tell you from the very beginning that he ends up in a coffin.
I hate you. I hate you so much. Stop this.
Genius.
Stop. No.
That movie is genius. I forget what the third instance was, but there's 3 instances for sure where he ends up in a death related area. And in the third movie they kind of backtrack on Jack's character a little bit, but I didn't
a little bit.
They keep talking about how he runs away from fights. And literally, the ending of the second movie shows that he doesn't do that. He went down with his ship, He fought the fucking Kraken, which, by the way, is the most injustice done. There's a time skip in that movie where the Kraken is dead. And that's stupid. It's stupid. Davy Jones had to go kill his Kraken. And
Yeah, because Beckett was like, hey, I don't want this thing around.
Which makes sense. but why is it done off screen in a time skip? No, I wanted the Kraken is what makes the second movie to me. It is an imposing, horrifying threat. It gets super weaker every time we see it. Like the first time you see it, swallows that ship instantly. Swallows that trading ship instantly. And I'm dead. In the second movie, and in the second scene we see him, it takes its time, I guess, but still tears the ship asunder, you know?
Yes.
And then in the third movie,
They fight it off, and then it comes back.
Yeah, and then he comes back like angrier, and they kind of realize like, yeah, we can't beat this thing. This thing is just untouchable. And then once it's gone, Davy Jones instantly becomes such a bitch. He's such a bitch. Like, they get his heart, and Davy Jones' motivations in these movies is what really, I think, doesn't drive the plot home. It's what really prevents these series from being perfect. It's what's Davy Jones' motivation. Why does Davy Jones care that somebody has his heart? If he dies, he dies. He's been alive for how? I mean, is he? I guess you could say that he's afraid of death.
Yeah.
Because he keeps asking people, "Do you fear death?" But maybe it's because he fears death the whole time, you know? Which would make sense, but it's like it's not really brought up. Also, by the way, another form of symbolism.
Well,
The first scene we see Will Turner as Will Turner, not like as a kid, but like as an adult. You know what he's doing? He's giving Governor Swan, Elizabeth's dad,
yeah.
Norrington's new sword.
Yep.
In the last movie, fucking Davy Jones uses Norrington's sword to kill fucking Will Turner.
Yep.
The first scene, the little sword that in every movie, by the way, they compliment that sword. In the first movie, obviously, they compliment it. The second movie, I think somebody compliments it. I think Beckett compliments it.
I think so.
Yeah, and then in the third movie, Davy Jones compliments it. And I think that's like that series is so well written. I'm gonna watch the fourth movie. I remember
Fourth one's good.
I remember not liking it, but I remember the mermaid storyline was being really good, and I really liked it. But I remember not liking the movie. I just remember the movie not being rememberable.
The fifth one was bad. I did not like the fifth
I remember the movie not being memorable.
I remember bits and pieces, but
Also, the thing we were talking about in the Star Wars series about like with Phantom Menace adding things, that's the best part about Dead Man's Chest. The first movie thought it was done. The first movie ends, and it's not conclusive, but it's conclusive. Like, you know, everybody's kind of happy. Everybody kind of accepts, you know, Norrington's like, yeah, we'll go chase him tomorrow or some shit like that. Let him have a day's head start or something like that. And everyone's like, oh, they're being nice to Jack, you know, as much as they can. You know, oh, you know, Elizabeth and Will, you're fine, even though you just freed a pirate, you're fine. You know? Like, and part of you's like, sure, that's a well-off ending. But then, like, a second movie gets announced, and you're like, of course there's going to be a second movie. Like, they didn't get off scot-free. Plus, like, there's so much you could do with pirate mythos that you haven't done yet. You know? Where's Blackbeard? Where's Davy Jones? Where's, you know, all that shit. And everything they introduced in the second movie is right. Like, of course there's a fucking Davy Jones. Like
Davy Jones? Kraken? Hell yeah.
He's the fucking Sea Grim Reaper. Of course. Like, oh, there's a trading company in the middle of the Caribbean trying to control everything in the Caribbean. I mean, yeah, that's literally what happened.
That's yep.
Island people that are cannibals and believe people will be gods and eat them. Of course, that makes perfect sense.
Shit, we still have that now.
Like everything they add, and then the third movie, it's like pirate lords. Of course, there's pirate lords. Pirate King. Of course there's a Pirate King.
One Piece? Of course there's One Piece.
And you're like, but it wouldn't make sense. And they're like, well, they have to make a vote for it. I'm like, of course they would make a vote for it because not one person would ever, or not any pirate would let any one person rule over them, you know, without a form of authority. You know, if you're a pirate lord, you're a pirate lord. And that's why I fucking love Keith Richards' character in that movie. Jack's dad, Captain Teague. The fucking... He's basically just like the pirate code cop. He's just there to be intimidating, and everybody accepts that his job is to just make sure that nobody fucking breaks this goddamn code. And there's this dope ass scene where like someone starts talking shit on the code. He fucking shoots him in point blank, or shoots him dead for talking shit. Comes out, drops the fucking code, goes to sit in his chair, starts playing a fucking guitar, and then they say one thing about like screw the code, and his fucking guitar string breaks, and he looks up, and everybody looks scared. It's so dope, and it's like, of course there is. I just wish that Keith Richards' character did anything in the movie
other than show up.
And like, of course Jack has a dad. But like it doesn't really.
If we're on performances, can we talk about Bill Nye's performance as Davy Jones?
That's Bill Nye.
Yeah.
Not
Not the science guy. The other.
There's
the
another
British
Bill
one.
Nye.
Yes.
His Davy Jones is amazing.
He's also the rattlesnake Jake in Rango.
Yes. Now I know who you're talking about. His name's Bill Nye. Really?
It is.
I didn't know that.
Is. When I was looking at the IMDb page, and I was like, Bill Nye, you thought this fucking science guy? No, he's also in what's it called? Shaun of the Dead.
There's a lot. Yeah, I knew that one. There's a lot of really standout performances in that movie. Like, obviously, it goes without saying, Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow will forever be Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
They will never do Jack Sparrow again. If any other Pirates movie does Jack Sparrow, it will not, or does, because with the whole like cancel bullshit with him. Well, I don't want to talk about that, but no movie will ever do Jack Sparrow again. That's Jack Sparrow forever and always. I think Keira Knightley does an amazing job. I think the first movie she's kind of meh. She's just kind of damsel in distress. The second movie she's fucking amazing. She's this dope ass. Forget this. I'm gonna be a pirate. Like, forget this. I'll do it.
Yep.
Puts on the Infinity Gauntlet. Fine, I'll do it myself. And she's super smart. She's super clever. And the third movie, she's a bitch in the first half, where she won't talk to Will about anything. And anytime Will tries to talk to her, she runs away from him. In the second half, she gets fixed. But the first half, she's so goddamn unsufferably annoying. I remember the first half, I was like, am I gonna hate this character? Like, but once she goes onto the Singapore boat, becomes the captain of that boat, she becomes a lot more tolerable, and becomes Pirate King. Like, all that's cool. But the first half is and then they get married mid-combat in a fucking maelstrom, fighting off the demon hordes of the goddamn Davy Jones. That's dope. But that movie, yeah, like that movie almost ruined her for me. But in the second movie, she's so good. The last scene where she kills Jack, it's such a good scene.
Yes.
Because the whole time you're like, is she in love with this guy? Like, is she really playing both? Like, is she really just like losing interest for Will? It's like, no, she loves Will to death. She's been playing Jack the whole time, and it's really fucked.
I mean, that's why she's a bitch through the entire like first half of the third movie, because she's guilty.
She is guilty. I get that, but it's like, I mean, yeah, I suppose that's fair, but like, I don't know. It leaves a sour taste in your mouth a little bit. It's kind of that movie thing where like, if we talked, that would just be over, and then we can't have any more drama. Like, like it's that weird movie thing where like they feel the need to not talk to each other, because Will didn't even know that she killed Jack.
Not until they go to Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah. Also, Will Turner is one of the best written characters in that series. How he just constantly is betraying people and shit like that, and constantly switching sides because he just wants his ends at the end of the day, and then he has to give his own self to the sea.
Yep.
As the captain of the Flying Dutchman, part of the ship, part of the crew. I think that's such a good, overarching story. Yeah, like we were talking about performances, Orlando Bloom, his two roles that I know him for. Has he been in anything else? I'm sure he's been in other movies.
He's been in something.
But he will always be Legolas.
Yep.
And he will always be Will Turner.
Yep.
Those are the two things that he will forever be known as. I would say honestly, Johnny Depp will probably always be fucking Jack Sparrow. Who's the guy who plays Barbossa?
Oh,
Because in the first movie, Barbossa's kind of tame. Like, he's a pirate captain. He's a little, jovial, but he's not really crazy. In the third movie, he's fucking crazy. He's like, he's batshit out of
can we
his
talk
mind.
about the best scene in the third movie though? When they're like doing the whole fight with Calypso turning the sea into a tsunami.
The maelstrom. Yeah, the ending scene, the
Oh,
ending fight.
not only that, the him screaming the marriage proposal
Yeah.
over the fight.
Yeah, it's super Pirates of the Caribbean. To be honest with you, it just fits that movie so well. How else would they get married? You thought they were gonna have a peaceful wedding? No. But like, I think the performances in that movie are so, and then there's a lot of really good side characters. Beckett's a really good villain. Like, Davy Jones isn't really a villain. He's an entity. He's more of an obstacle. And he only becomes a villain in the third movie because he gets his heart controlled.
I'd say he's more of a villain in the second.
He's not really he's a villain, but he's not a villain.
Because he's much more of an obstacle in the third one. Because you got to think,
Yeah.
after the maelstrom and everything,
He's more of like,
they come over and they just fuck up Beckett's
so do you
ship.
know there's a lot of backstory in this series, by the way, that they don't tell you. Do you know what I'm talking about? So, you remember in the second movie when Beckett gets introduced and they're like, what do you want with Jack Sparrow? Or he's like, how do you know Jack Sparrow or something like that? He's like, we both left our mark on each other. And in the third movie, they show you that, Jack has the P for pirate and he has a B,
For bitch.
A bureaucrat, actually. It's just like, but the story behind Jack Sparrow? What made him a pirate?
No, I don't.
And they were talking about how they were shipping cargo. And he says people are not cargo. He was on a slave trade vessel, taking slaves away. He had 100 slaves on that boat, and he decided not to take them to the plantation that they were supposed to go. He was working with the East Indian Trading Company. He's a privateer. He decided, I'm not doing slaves. I won't do it. So the East Indian Trading Company gunned the Black Pearl down. So he begs Davy Jones to bring the Black Pearl back. That's why the Black Pearl, and that's why Davy Jones owes him, or he wants 100 souls, because the 100 souls that he gave to lose the Black Pearl, he wants back. Yeah.
They don't ever explain that.
No, they don't at all. It's all implied. But like, it really sets a precedent for the character of Jack Sparrow, because he's super selfish. Like, that's kind of like his whole character. And then at the end, he needs to be selfish. Like, killing Davy Jones would have spared Will Turner's life, but he just couldn't do it. He couldn't kill Davy Jones. The fear of, eternity scared him. Jack Sparrow is a living embodiment of die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain,
Yep.
Which, by the way, brings me to like the worst part of that fucking movie, World's End, is the insanity bits where he's talking to himself.
Oh, yep.
The terrible CGI with the jacks.
The lighting is just so off.
The
with
lighting
all of
is
them.
awful, especially in like the last scene that we see him,
Where he's in the boat.
in the brig.
Yep.
Oh my god, when you see that Jack Sparrow against the wall, and you're like, what the fuck? There's no way someone thought this was finished, like, at all.
If we're on the note of bad CG, I watched Monster Hunter last night. Oh my fucking god.
Is it terrible?
It is bad.
Oh no!
It's
don't tell me that.
bad.
Oh no! That's
Oh,
scary.
God.
I was really looking forward to that movie. It's got our girl in it.
It does, but it's still so bad.
I mean, she's got.
First off, they don't do my weapon any justice.
I mean, first off, she's got a track record, to be honest, at being in movies with really bad CGI.
True, but No, they do my weapon absolutely no fucking justice. They get the switch axe, don't do anything with it. They get the files wrong with it.
Did they do the charge blade?
They probably had it somewhere hidden in there. The weapons that I could see where they had the bow,
longsword.
switch axe, longsword, dual cleavers,
I'm actually surprised they even used
insect glaive.
I'm actually really surprised that they even used Monster Hunter weapons and not just like some stupid ass weapons that they had the idea
Yeah,
for.
the insect glaive. They also actually introduced a palico. It was just the chef. They didn't have any of the other ones.
And the palicos look terrible.
Oh, palico actually looked good.
Really?
The CG for the actual creatures,
What's bad?
spot on.
Oh, what was
Spot on.
What was bad then?
Comping it in. So in some cases, it looks fantastic in the world. Other cases where it's interacting with humans, oh my god, it is horrendous.
It's got
The
that-
CG with
It's like a. It's like a. What's the dragon movie?
there's a lot of those. Rain of Fire.
No, it's like It's like
Dragonheart.
King Kong, or Godzilla, but dragons. You know what I'm talking about?
Fucking, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking? I can't think of a name of it either.
Dragon Wars.
Dragon Wars. Dragon Wars the same way. Like the dragons look really decent in that movie, and then they touch some, and then they're like near somebody, and you're like, oh my god.
Yep.
Oh my god.
They also
Ninja
only
Assassin does the same thing because they do CG blood in the CG movies. Listen to me. I don't care if it doesn't look real with enough blood.
violence.
Do not use CG blood. It looks terrible. You know what uses CG blood? The Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah,
And like, I'm trying to get past it because the rest of the CG looks pretty decent.
it does.
But CG blood never looks good.
No.
It never looks good.
You want to know what's gonna piss you off about the Monster Hunter movie, though? They only have four of the creatures.
Let me guess. Rathalos?
Yep.
They have to have like a small one. Jagras?
Nope. It's the Rathalos, Black Diablos.
Oh, that's the main villain.
Yeah. It's not from World. I only played World. It's the spider bitches. They begin with an N.
I know exactly what you're talking about. They're in Rise now.
Them, and then they have something at the very end that comes up, and it's like an end credit scene.
thing?
Yeah. Oh, and they also have the Ankylosaurus motherfuckers.
Ah. Yeah, you knew Rathalos was going to be in the movie.
Of course. But I was really hoping, I'm like, oh, and they even go to the Wildspire. And I'm like, okay, cool. So this is going to be more like Monster Hunter World. So maybe
Yeah,
they're going
of
to introduce some more.
They literally, you know what they did when they were making this movie? Which of these games sold the most? Appeal to that one.
Yep. But I was really hoping to see them like, oh, cool. They're going to have like the Anjanath. They're going to have the Jagras. They're going to have, the Yukakulo or whatever the fuck it's called.
The
They didn't have any of them.
I mean,
and that pissed me off.
you absolutely knew that Rathalos was going to be in it. Like, Rathalos has to be in it. It's the most iconic monster in Monster Hunter, like, bar none.
But they do files so wrong. They do it to where it's just like they hold the weapon together and all of a sudden now it's fire. And I'm like, that makes no fucking sense.
Do they do the food right?
They actually have a full scene and it's cut up like the game when you're getting your food done by the Palico.
And is it like the fucking crazy looking Monster Hunter feast that I've always wanted to eat?
They cut up like a huge piece of just steak.
That's what matters to me. No joke. I would pay top dollar for a Monster Hunter meal like that.
I say the scene is only like 30 seconds
like the
long,
giant fucking fish.
but
thing.
it's done just like the game.
Good.
But the switch axe, man, they don't do anything with it. They don't give me my look. No, it's a sword.
I mean, yeah, that's to be expected.
And they have Ron Perlman in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I know T.I.'s in it, weirdly enough.
He uses my weapon.
Why is T.I. in it? I don't understand.
He's only in it for like maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, does he die?
Yes.
Oh. Is he our first death? Please don't tell me they did.
No.
Okay,
Nope.
good.
They make the Asian guy the first death.
Nice.
Diversity.
But yeah, like, I mean, is it a good movie? Is it okay? Is it not a bad video game adaptation?
It's
The fact that you're saying it's not a good or bad movie makes me, or not a good movie makes me scared because you usually have a high tolerance for bad
I
movies.
really do.
You were out here trying
thoroughly-
to defend Doom to me, and I was like, "No, Richard."
First person scene, man.
I'm like, "No, Richard." Bad,
Well,
Richard.
let me phrase it this way. I would
Did you try to defend Spawn to me too?
no, that was you to me.
I tried to defend Spawn to you, and I still defend it to this day. It's terrible looking, but it's a fun movie. The Violator's stupid, but I mean, like,
Okay, so if I had to give you a recommendation on how to watch Monster Hunter,
drunk.
midnight and blast it off your ass.
I can see it. How's Mila's performance?
She does good. She does
I'm
very
sure
good.
of it.
Mila does fine in just about every movie she's in. Just
They
about.
over sexualize her like in every
No,
movie?
nope.
Really?
They give her full leather armor, like the full, like actual leather armor set.
Okay, movie producers. I know that these normies like, the skin on these people and like seeing the,
It's a weird way to phrase that.
They
They
like-
like the skin on the
they
people.
do. They like seeing like these impractical, battle uniforms that really aren't even like uniforms. Like her Resident Evil outfit. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh,
It's like the tank top and like short shorts with fucking gun belts all over them. Like
in the third movie.
nothing like chafing. Have you ever worn a gun belt? Like, oh my god, they are tight and chafe.
Oh my god.
That's why you wear jeans with thermals underneath. Like, I really, really don't care if the character is naked. I just like attractiveness comes from number one, especially in like an action movie. How fucking cool you look. Because it's the best looking Keira Knightley in that movie, or in the Pirates of the Caribbean series.
Uh-huh.
The second movie where she's dressing up as a pirate,
Yep.
like she has her hair up because she's trying to pretend to be a boy.
I don't know, man. Have you ever seen Snake Eyes? No, that shit.
Like, she looks like it's really a weird thing where it's like being badass is so much hotter than being hot to me. Like, what's a good example of this?
Kill Bill.
It's a good one. That is a good one. But it's not the perfect example.
Let's think of a perfect example.
I have one, but I can't think of it. Like,
What's the one that you like? Get Out? Movie? A horror movie?
no, is it No Way Out? No.
I think it's
You're
Get
Next.
Out. You're
You're
next.
Next.
That's what it is.
That woman is not sexualized at all, and she is a badass, and that is my wife.
Tell me, Natalie.
No, I mean, like, that's Natalie. Like, she watches horror movies, and she's like, "Yep, that's exactly what you need to do." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, sweetie." But like, yeah, like, make them cool, man. They don't have to be sexualized. They don't. Make them cool, and they will be remembered longer. And that brings me to my next point, because I wanted to talk about this, because I don't understand it, why it must exist. This discourse and the internet right now about Lola Bunny, I don't understand it. Listen, okay? It's okay to have your first boner to Lola Bunny and Space Jam. Fine. You have to grow from it. Because if you keep holding on to it, I've got some bad news for you, playa. That makes you a furry. If you're out here trying to go like, they didn't make Lola Bunny sexy, you are a furry. You might not think you're a furry. You might be a closeted furry, but you're a furry nonetheless. I don't care if Lola Bunny is hot in the new Space Jam movie. I don't care.
It's been so long since I've seen the first Space Jam, since I saw Space Jam initially. I've only seen it, I think, twice in my entire life. I don't remember liking it, but I think if I watch it now, I'll be like, shit, yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's silly.
See, because
And
I
it
like the
looks
Looney
terrible.
Tunes movie.
It looks terrible. All of like it's just like you said with Monster Hunter, where like if they do the real things on cartoon things, and
Yeah.
when those cartoon things interact with the real things, it's when it looks terrible.
See, I like the Looney Tunes movie with Brendan Fraser.
I watched that movie once on
I
Cartoon
like that
Network,
movie.
and I remember not liking it, but I haven't seen it in so long. Every time I think of that, I think of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I think
That is the definitive movie.
that's a good movie.
Do you know how they did all the scenes?
They had like, didn't they have like a?
They did all the scenes like 5 times. Like the scene of the weasels come in and
Yeah.
he's trying to hide Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
So they do a blank slate and it's on a stationary camera that's on a
Yeah,
swivel.
that movie required a lot from the
So
actors.
much. Yeah, it goes through on a blank slate. And then they go through with the actual actor. And they do the actor, and he comes in. And then they do it with the actor and
Roger.
like props,
Oh.
like placeholders. And then they do a slate on the clean slate where they draw
was literally
everything.
like a thing.
It was in the 80s.
You know, it's a movie that's doing that. Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, they
And-
are.
And I was really surprised that they decided to do that style.
It's still
and not-
definitely
and not-
CG, but
and-
it's
and
much
not-
more
well,
cartoon.
Yeah, and they didn't, like I was saying, like they didn't want to make them like CG Tom and CG Jerry. Instead, they actually wanted to make them cartoony, and I respect that a lot. Will the movie be good? Probably not. Here's the thing about like the thing that they can't capture in these movies is the essence of the time. You know, like Tom and Jerry is so remembered from our childhood because when they were making it for the first time. You know, and they knew what they wanted to do. Am I gonna sit here and tell you that I'm so excited for a Tom and Jerry movie? And like, oh, what's gonna happen? He's gonna hit him with a frying pan, and his head's gonna turn into the shape of the frying pan. I'm sure of it. You know, like, there's nothing like, special about these movies for our generation. It's more like to bring that to the new generation. You know, that's really what this is for. Which makes me sound like a fucking boomer. Ew. But like, a lot of people get mad at this kind of stuff. Like people with Space Jam, they're trying to find everything. They're like, everybody tries to find everything wrong with this movie, and I'm like, bro, first off, let it come out. Because if you're sitting here trying to sit here and defend the original Space Jam, I got some bad news for you. It's a good childhood movie. It's not a good movie. Like, Michael Jordan is not the best actor. He's okay. He does it fine. But it's okay. The characters are super... They feel like... A lot of the characters feel like they're doing, like, impersonations of their characters in that movie. Like, their voices sound right, but it feels like they're just trying to, like, do all of the stereotypical stuff of the character, you know, to where it doesn't feel genuine. It just feels like... Hey, you remember Bugs Bunny? These are all the funny things that Bugs Bunny's ever said. You know, remember that episode of Looney Tunes? Like,
So correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Space Jam where they introduced Lola Bunny?
was it? I don't know. I have no idea.
Because I think that was the case. I could be entirely wrong though.
I think you might be right. Because I don't. Now that you say it, I have never seen a image of Lola Bunny younger than Space Jam, like, or older than Space Jam. Like, I've never seen like one of the retro cartoons with Lola Bunny in it.
Yeah.
That's so
The
weird.
oldest cartoon I can think of is the
Looney
the
Tunes
Baby
show?
Tunes or whatever the fuck they were.
She was in that, and was that before Space Jam?
I think that was
No.
early
I
2000s.
remember really liking that show as a kid. Weirdly
I
enough.
remember thinking it was okay.
I remember really liking that show. But like, no, I think you're right. I think Lola Bunny was introduced in Space Jam, which is so weird. Why? Were they watching this movie and they were like, you know what? I don't think it has enough sex appeal to these 8-year-olds.
Hell yes.
Like,
that's what we
Your
want.
face when I said that was both of disgust and you were trying to agree with me. You're like, oh, you're hell yeah. Oh. It was really funny.
we don't talk about it, okay?
But I just think that like the absolute audacity of people on the internet to like just get mad over the smallest things on earth from both sides. Here's the thing that people like, they think that like their side's always right. And man, like these people complaining about people canceling the fucking Mr. Potato. and then immediately going and trying to cancel this new Lola Bunny and trying to tell them to fix it.
No, we're gonna hit reverse real quick. The fuck you say about Mr. Potato Head?
There's fucking people are getting mad that fucking it's not Mr. Potato Head anymore. It's just Potato Head because they wanted it to be gender neutral. I don't care. I don't care.
You know what? If I want to slap a giant fat fucking cock onto my potato, his name is Mr. Potato Head.
He's a dictator.
I hate you. That was your joke.
But like that doesn't really matter to me. Like more along the lines of like, like both sides have to realize that they're both fucking stupid. They're all the same. You sit here and get mad that people are canceling one thing and then try to cancel another. Like the boomers who are sitting here and say, "Oh, kids are too sensitive these days," were the same people telling me that Pokemon was satanic. Like, and I couldn't play Magic the Gathering because that was me playing with tarot cards, and Dungeons and Dragons were for the devil and shit like that. Like, you get this through your head, internet people. Everyone's a snowflake. Everybody has a line that they don't like being crossed, and the moment it gets crossed, it gets mad. I like to sit on that line and sit here and look at both sides and laugh. Just laugh at you idiots. Laugh at you retards trying to get mad at each other for no reason. It's really funny because you have 80 years on this planet and you decide to get mad over a fucking potato. And you decide to get mad at a cartoon bunny who dribbles the basketball with LeBron James. Like, bro. How many times we got to tell you this? It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. Who cares? You have 80 years on this planet, give or take, depending on how much salt intake you take.
Oh no, I have bad news for your wife.
Yeah, I've got bad news for me. Shoot, I told Natalie, I'm like, I'm making it to 60, and then every day is gonna be a dice roll. Every day is gonna be a coin flip. But like, it's it's just stop being so fucking sensitive on both sides. Like, a part of me like hates this like, pseudo wokeness where like everything has to be PC and everything has to be, So, let's talk about this. Have you heard about Yasuke?
I have not.
The Netflix series that's coming out.
Oh, is that the Black Samurai?
Samurai?
Yes.
People were trying to cancel that.
Why?
Because they thought they were making a story just to like channel this pseudo wokeness about
it's
let's make
supposed
a
to be
Black
historically
Samurai.
accurate.
It is historically accurate, but they were sitting here talking shit about it, trying to cancel it because they're like, "Oh, Black Samurai, that doesn't make any sense. You're just doing it to like appeal to the masses." I'm like, "It's a real fucking story. Read a book, bitch." It's a fucking amazing story too. It's a fucking crazy ass like twist and turn story that I'm so excited they're making. I think it's made by the same people who made Afro Samurai.
Ooh.
The art style is gorgeous. All the panels I've seen from it is gorgeous. I'm excited for that. I'm gonna watch.
Am I gonna have Samuel L. Jackson
as the random ninja that narrates the whole time?
Yes, please.
It doesn't do anything. Yeah, probably.
Hell yes, please. That's all I want.
Did you watch the movie or did you watch the series?
I watched the movie.
The movie's really good. The movie's got like those weird sex scene in the middle of it.
It does.
But it's good.
Nevertheless.
But like it's both sides, man. Like the pseudo wokeness that everyone's trying to do where it's like they want everything to be PC and they don't want to offend anybody. It's like, okay, fine. You want everyone to feel included, but in turn you're kind of like objectifying that, because like now people are getting mad that you're doing this. And I don't care either way. Like that's the thing that people like. You can get mad at people trying to, keep everything inclusive to everyone, but you also can't get mad at the same people trying to, let's say, like, keep their stuff the way it's supposed to be. Like both sides are guilty of this.
Yes.
And I think if you fall on either side, there's something. I don't think, wrong with you. Have your beliefs. If you believe in a thing, believe in it. But I think it's very important to kind of just step back and realize that we're all kind of human. We all have our beliefs, and it's very important to, like, talk about them, The number one thing I hate on, like, the internet right now is, like, I mean, everybody hates it, is the cancel culture bullshit, where it's so quick to send people to Twitter jail and just silence their voice forever. I don't know if you've heard, you remember the Smash drop, right? All the Smash like content creators and Smash players getting in trouble for like a pedophilia all at the same time. Like the Me Too movement happened in Smash, where everybody was coming out.
Oh.
Yeah, this happened. There was a really big controversy with this Smash House, where they were basically grooming kids. That was all true. But there was one story that got told in the middle of this that was really fucked up and got way out of hand. That's the story of Nairo and Captain Zack. And I don't like getting like too controversial here, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty evident that everyone here agrees that Nairo is in the right. Summarize long story short, Captain Zack, he's had a history in the Smash community of being kind of like a bit of a degenerate. He's had multiple people canceled because he was a young kid. He was like 15. But he would, stay over at these people's houses. One time he was at a tournament, and didn't have a place to stay. Asked Nairo's buddy if he could, stay there. He stayed with Nairo. Nairo basically woke up to a 15-year-old kid sucking his dick. Humbly pushed him aside and told him, please get off of me. And then this was like years ago. And then, he basically Captain Zack blackmailed him into, I'll, tell people. Yeah, terrible stuff, right?
Man, fuck people. Humans suck.
Oh no, Captain Zack's the fucking worst. Like, I don't think there's a soul alive that likes Captain Zack anymore. And if you do, you really need to educate yourself. I do not hate you for this, but you really should educate yourself because it's crazy. But nevertheless, this controversy, and listen, I'm not sitting here saying that, I wish bad things upon Captain Zack. He's still a young kid. He didn't know what he was doing. It's okay. Move on from it. But you have to understand that you cannot have the same freedoms to our community that you had, But, when it happened, when all this came out, Captain Zack wrote a tweet longer about it happening, and explained what happened. Like, right, that he forced himself on Nairo. Nairo pushed him aside. And, people canceled Nairo because, he's a 15-year-old kid. A 15-year-old kid can't rape him. He's like, well, why didn't you push him off? He's like, I did. But Nairo sent out an apology because none of his friends believed him. None of his friends believed that a 15-year-old kid could rape an adult. Like, no one believed that. So, he just apologized. He took it on the chin. He sat here and took that L and had to sit here and watch his entire channel, watch his entire reputation, watch his entire life die. All of his friends, his community, the people who loved him, the people who subscribed to him, all these people just told him to go kill himself. And Nairo is an edge case where he did the smart thing. Do you know what he did? Got on that phone, contacted an attorney. Immediately, I was like, he would not go to, like, no sane human being would ever go to an attorney if they didn't believe they were right. You have to be crazy to get the law involved and if you're wrong. You would want anything but that, And then immediately after that, Nairo goes quiet. He goes quiet for a long time. And then he tells people that I've contacted my attorney. I'm not allowed to say anything else. And then finally, he comes back and basically on his YouTube channel just thanks everyone, Like, he's not resentful at all. And I think it speaks to Nairo's character as a person. He's such a nice guy. He didn't deserve this at all. Tells us that, he won the case. He should be getting it. He's trying to get, hashtag unban Nairo, by the way. He's banned on Twitch right now. Because of what happened. But unban Nairo. Like, it became a really popular hashtag, and it still is. Like, unban Nairo to give him his Twitch channel back. And, like, the internet, like, Twitter collectively agreed that they apologized to Nairo, How lucky. Like, I love Nairo to death, and he deserves it. That guy fucking deserves. He's such a nice guy. Nairo's one of the nicest human beings I've ever like listened to talk. He does everything for this community. Such a nice guy. And man, did he not deserve this shit? And we all collectively agreed, even when it happened, and Captain Zach was like the victim. We collectively agreed that, you know, Captain Zach gotta go. It's like his third instance where this has happened. You can't keep playing the victim, you know? So like we just like, and then after this it's like, well fuck, who's the victim? Because we made the victim Captain Zach, you know, that poor guy. What happened to him, you know? But now it's Nairo. Now everybody's attacking Captain Zach. It's like, when does it fucking end? Captain Zach made a stupid decision. Does he deserve to get canceled? That's not for me to decide, and I don't care. What you need to decide is, where does it end? You know? Because at the end of the day, I mean, he was 15. Bro, I've made stupid decisions when I was 15, and I like to think that I'm a vaguely smart human being. With no position of power, like a very, very high topping, you know, Smash player does, you know? Like, the Smash community is very tight and diverse, you know? So, to be considered one of the elites of that group would be a lot of pressure for a 15-year-old kid, you know? But that doesn't give him an excuse, you know? But, like, I get where it's coming from. But at the same time, it's just like, don't end this kid because of it. This kid should not be allowed in our community at all. But it's got to end at some point, you know? We've got to start being better as a community. Not just, like, as a Smash community. I mean, as people. As a community of human beings. We've got to be better with this shit. I've been ranting for a minute, and I'm sorry about that. But, like, we've got to be better. Like, to be more accepting of both sides. To listen to both arguments. And from there, make a just decision. And make that decision in the most peaceful way possible. And whatever consequences happen to the person, happens to the person. Because, look at it this way. If Nairo had immediately taken this to court, as it happened, we would have destroyed Captain Zach and dragged him through the mud, right? Immediately. But since Nairo just felt so guilty about the thing, and he felt guilty because he's a fucking good guy. Like, he did not feel... He felt bad, you know, for Captain Zach. And he shouldn't have, but he's a really good guy. If we had not done this and made Nairo... My point is that when does a nice guy like Nairo not come along, but this happens to him? When does a guy who... I hate to bring it up because it really leaves a bad taste in my mouth because poor guy. But like a guy like Etika. Rest in peace, my guy. Joystick Con Boys for life. Or Joy-Con Boys for life, excuse me. Oh my god. I want to get crucified just for that. But Etika, you know, I didn't watch him as much as I would have if I'd known that he was going through it. He went through a lot of bad stuff, you know. Poor guy. But it's really important for people to realize that, like, we need help. Even if you're the bad guy, you need help. We don't all have to be... there doesn't have to be a villain. There doesn't. In these arguments, there doesn't have to be a villain. There can be a wrong side, but there doesn't have to be a end-all, be-all. We all hate this person. It's over for them, you know? Like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, not to get political or anything, but I don't hate Trump. I don't really like either Republican or Democratic candidates last year. But, like, the pseudo craziness with, like, just hating Trump because he's Trump is kind of really stupid to me. And then but then the problem with that is that, like, then the Trump people started hating Biden because it's Biden. You know, like, I get that, but it's just like, can we talk to each other like humans anymore? Like, when was the last time you had, like, a conversation that was really divisive, other than with, like, me or, like, a close friend? Like, really divisive, that didn't just feel like you were talking to a brick wall?
A few weeks ago. Over at work with one of my coworkers.
Yeah,
That's,
but
I mean,
a
that's,
coworker, but like, like the like it just feels like a lot of times that like people have gotten so set in their ways. And they're not willing to be a mold.
Yeah.
Like once you believe something, that's the thing that you believe, and nothing else changes that. No evidence. There's still people to this day who don't like Nairo, even after all this. Like they say that he handled it poorly. That's your decision to make. It's not mine. But the point I'm getting, the reason I wanted to bring this story up is because we've just got to be better as human beings. And I know this podcast started very interesting. We were talking about Pirates of the Caribbean and Star Wars and stuff, and now we're talking about a call to action for all people, all humanity. But like, it's so important to just talk. It's more important to listen, because a lot of times people just kind of like, you're being nice by listening to someone, like just letting them talk, but you're not really getting what they're saying. Like I found myself in a lot of my younger years kind of like doing that thing where like, I don't know, everyone who just has a different opinion than me is stupid, and I'm like, that's really just a not smart way of looking at it, because you can learn a lot from a dumb person, just because someone doesn't have the high intelligence. And I'm not sitting here telling you I'm a fucking Einstein. I'm a dumbass too. But like what I'm getting at here is like you can learn a lot from everybody, like smart people, dumb people. It's about your willingness to learn from somebody, your willingness to pick up a worldview. Because if you sit here and let your worldview be defined by what you have decided, it's not a worldview, it's your view. A worldview is something that happens whenever you have experienced other people. You've talked to people. You've listened to people, and it's super important to listen to these people and talk with them. Like, this political election this year, I'm sorry to not let you talk. I'm really ranting.
Oh, no, you're good.
This election really didn't feel like an election at all, did it? It really
Not
felt,
really.
It felt like a fucking episode of Survivor.
There it is. Yep.
It felt like everyone had picked out their favorite character. It could not matter what they said, what they do, what their politics are. You had decided based on one thing and one thing alone: orange man bad or old man bad. And if you had not decided on those things, you were either a racist or a snowflake. And I've got to be honest with you, it was fucking disgusting. It was disgusting watching this nation in the election this year from every side. I voted. I'm not going to say what I voted for because it doesn't matter. But either way, no matter which way I voted, it's fucking disgusting. And this bullshit with like these Democratic people saying that, oh, now it's time for us to unify. They're not going to fucking want to unify with you guys. You guys fucking were just talking shit with them the whole time, and then now you want to be friends with them. Like, they're not going to want to be friends with you. That's not how fucking people work. Nobody's going to want to be friends. It's like it's really like if like we had, like let's say we took a bet on a video game, right? I put in fucking cheat codes beforehand. And you knew I put in cheat codes beforehand. And then I was like, okay, well, let's honor the bet anyway. Like, no, fuck you. I know you cheated.
Yep.
Like, it was just disgusting. Like, on both sides, too, because, like, it was one of those things where it was, like, both sides just were just at each other's throats and did not care to listen. Maybe it was because I was a kid, and maybe I was too dumb to realize it. But I feel like when I was a kid, like with the Obama elections and stuff like that, it felt a little bit more civilized. It felt a little bit more discussion oriented. I remember I know Obama's politics from his first election more than I did about Trump's politics in both elections and Biden's.
Yep.
Because they talked about him. There's these key words that both sides choose. They always bring up and they never do. Like Democrats start talking about, free health care, loan for or student loan forgiveness, shit like that. They talk about that shit, but they never do it. Every year they don't do it. And the Republicans do the same thing with, the lighter taxes and things like that, of the sort. When do we get to a point where we just start holding, I feel like once the election happens, people stop caring about politics, and I feel like that's the most important part when you care. They just don't like the guy. Who cares about the guy? First off, I think a lot of people are missing out what a president is. A president is the executive branch. We learned about this in third grade fucking history.
Yep. Yeah.
They enforce the laws. They don't fucking make them, people. Who makes the fucking laws? Those 100 people you put up, they're all fucking 80 years old. Remember segregation and fucking slavery, and fucking their grandparents owned slaves. Pelosi and Mitch McConnell's parents probably owned slaves. There's a good chance.
I'm not gonna agree. But I'm going
they were
to
born in the 40s.
Make this motion with my head.
And that's not a matter of their politics. That's a matter of their fucking age. There is no human way, Richard, that as a 23-year-old man, I could sit here and tell you that an 80-year-old woman and a 80-year-old man have my best interest in mind. Two people that are way over retirement. Over retirement.
Most people in their 40s or 50s have no interest for us.
No. And that's not my point. My point is that there's no human way that you could sit here and tell me that if they vote, do you think that if any congressman was to be, if we just did a draft, like a fucking draft, that any congressman would probably remain? Maybe a couple.
Maybe.
I tell you right now.
Not many.
Mitch McConnell's not staying. Pelosi's not staying. None of these people are fucking staying. None of these. We have to take a stand as a people, not just against the government. Attack the government. I mean, as a people to talk. Because if we talked about this shit, we would realize that we have very common things in common, Here's the thing that people really don't get. Sure, maybe there's some crazy people in the left side that really don't like it. Bro, I've never met a left leaning person that wants to take guns. Not one. I got to be honest. Maybe these super left fucking cancel the potato head person. Sure. But bro, nobody wants to take guns. I've got to be honest, and it'll never happen. And if it does, there will be a civil war, and we will kill each other. It's not going to happen. It never will. For good reason. Look, I'm not saying that if the moment they did it, we would be invaded by a country. But it would be a lot easier. Because I look at it this way. Our enemies right now, we don't really have enemies, but we have people who don't like us that much. China. China really doesn't like us that much. They're closest to the east side, or the west side of America. They've got to get through our friends, Japan. The moment they start moving anything past Japan, we'll know about it.
Yep. Yeah. I don't. We don't have a lot of enemies.
No,
but
I think at this
biggest
point,
thing of our enemies is ourselves.
I think at this point we're too far into technology to have wars. I don't think a war will ever happen again. It'd be too cataclysmic. It would absolutely be too cataclysmic. There's too much of a population.
It wouldn't be a war.
No,
it'd be an apocalypse. That's just what it is.
And I don't think any country would ever decide that. I don't think maybe a North Korea, but they wouldn't. They don't impose a threat. China would never go to war with us. If they wanted to, they would have. Same
thing with Russian.
$16 trillion. $16 trillion. Trillion. To put it in perspective, the COVID bill that Joe Biden just passed was 2 trillion, 1.9 trillion. So 8 of those, 8 of those is what we owe to China, and I'm sure it's more now. That's the last number I remember hearing. Like, I don't think that any country, bro. Every country's played Fallout. We know how it happens, bro. Like, and I don't even think it'd be nuclear. I just think that, like, there's too much of a population. Like, what's China gonna do? Let us bomb Beijing? Like, that'd be horrible. It'd be horrible. It's we're too far into the world to do that, to do wars anymore.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, yeah, like you said, it's internal. There's something brewing.
I say our biggest threat isn't us or isn't any outside force. It's ourselves.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
just how it is.
I'm not sitting here saying that we're fucking doomed. I think that
We just need to be better.
Yeah, I agree fully. Like, being better as people is not as hard as it sounds. Listening, not hearing what they're saying. I mean, listening, taking what they say and molding an opinion based on what you have heard, what you have said, and the facts, or what they have said and the facts. Because, did you ever take debate?
I never did debate. I'm
did.
terrible at debate.
I was in Camdenton, the school I was at in Missouri, for my last 2 years. Oh, excuse me. Oh God. But the last 2 years that I had in Camdenton, I was interested in debate. I didn't really do it, but I was interested in it. I went to their practices and stuff like that. I just kind of watched. And it's kind of methodic and almost tedious with the steps that you have to do to prove a point. You know what I mean? Like, if you start off with a statement, like, one person is the, I guess, attacker, that was the word they used, which is like basically prosecution.
The instigator.
Yeah, the instigator. I just remember them using attacker and defender. But yeah, like prosecution, instigator. They want to push this thing. And then one's the defendant or against.
Yeah.
Defender. And you start off with a statement, then you create a statement against that. Or for that, rather, like, what are all these good things about it? And you've gotten this prompt, like, months before, so you can study, focus, do research, things like that. It's really, really, really harder than I thought it would be, like, with all the shit that you have to do for it. But you start off with your statement, like, what's good about that? And then the defense has to write a rebuttal, where it's like, they take what you say. Debates are a lot like rap battles. Like, one person has to just, like, drop their bars with no, preset. There's nothing that, the second person has said yet, so they can't really go off of that. So they have to say what they say instantly, off of the top of their head. And then the second person can take what they say and mold it to their own creation. You know what I mean? But why do they have to do before that? They have to hear them.
Yep.
They have to hear them. Listen to every word they say. See the facts in that, and then point out the facts.
And come up with a rebuttal.
Not instantly call them a racist.
No.
Not instantly call them a snowflake. They tell you what they believe is wrong, and then the attackers
have to rebuttal to your rebuttal.
Basically, take what you have said and clarify why that's wrong as best as they can. And then the rebut defense gets an ending statement, basically, like the first thing, where they basically say why it's bad or why it's good, whatever they believe, whatever the statement is.
Yeah.
It's very, very obvious how simple this could be in real life. You don't have to sit here and fucking have a debate, like a literal, like, fucking, hold on, let me do my 3 months of research. like one person states something with the information that they have gathered before. Another person doesn't insult them, tells them why they believe they're wrong. The third person clarifies the things that they had wrong or said that they had wrong. And then the fourth person makes a statement defending their beliefs. Are either side going to change sides? Probably not.
Who knows?
You know, but at the end of the day, you've had a civil conversation and you move on to it from it like adults. It is so I'm fucking bashing my head against the microphone. It is so fucking agonizing just listening to people like 5-year-olds, man. Like, I feel like we've been talking about this forever, but like it's so lame. It's so lame to just like watch the world explode before you. It feels like idiocracy.
Man, I've got to be on this planet for 60 more years. Not make my 60 years a living hell.
I agree. You've seen Idiocracy, right?
I've seen Idiocracy. Yes.
It really feels like that. Like, we're just slowly devolving into it, and it's really scary. Yeah. I don't think people are getting stupider. I just think that people are just not listening. And I mean, here's the thing. You're not going to notice this. It's really the internet's fault. I think the internet has devolved into this place of just... You'll never find a hive of more wretches and villainy than in this world. Or in this place. Whatever Obi-Wan says. But I think the internet has just given like this filter of just like, I could say whatever I want because, you know, I'm on the internet, you know? And it's translating to the real world, you know? Just how people are now. And it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous to just sit here and have a one-sided mind that cannot be changed or molded. Like, I don't think of myself as a fucking elite because I listen to people, you know, like that. I really think I'm dumb, and I think that makes me smart. You know what I mean? I think I'm dumb, and I have a lot to learn, and I think that makes me a smart person, is realizing that I'm dumb, realizing that I have a lot to learn and can learn from both sides, to be honest with you. That I think it's really, you know, dumb to sit here and call yourself, you know, smart. Now, don't get me wrong. There's fucking smart people in the world. You know, there's fucking doctors and fucking, you know, geniuses and of the sort, you know, smart people. But to call yourself a smart person or to sit here and say that you know what you're talking about is really dangerous because, I mean, do you know everything about this topic? Possibly. Unlikely, but possibly. Like me, I know a lot about sharks. You know that sharks, 60% of its body mass is its liver?
Thank you. I'm never going to forget this now.
Like, I know a bit about sharks because I wanted to be a marine biologist and I wanted to specialize in sharks because I think sharks are the most villainized animal in the world. Like, Jaws gave them a bad rep, bro. Cows kill triple the amount of people that sharks kill in a year. You know? You know, people think cows are cute. People think sharks are evil. So like, I think it's, you know, that's where I was always as a kid. I was just like, I want to be the guy who defends sharks, you know, because sharks get a raw end, man. With like, you know, finners are still out there, you know, like people who just go in and fucking cut their fins off and then throw them back in the ocean, letting them die. So like I always felt like I had to defend them, but you know, what was my point here?
You're dumb and have lots of things to learn, making you smart.
Yeah, like I know a lot about sharks. Like I've done my research. I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I can about sharks. Am I a shark expert? Fuck no. Do I know anything about sharks? Fuck no. I don't think I know anything about sharks. Because, one, I've never seen one. Which is, I think, a big thing. To sit here and say that you know a lot about something but never seen it is kind of like really stupid. So it's like, you have to like put that in perspective. It's like, have you seen this thing? Well, no. Okay, well then, seems like you don't know it. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we can end this topic here. Just kind of like a general word of mouth. If you've gotten this far, with our preachy bullshit, just listen.
Be better.
Listen to people. I think it's really important to listen to people. Just and when I say listen, I don't mean just let them sit here and talk while you're fucking checking your phone. Like, listen to what they have to say. Think about it. Think about it. Think about what they said. Like, I've left conversations thinking that someone was really, really, really not smart, and that their idea was really not well thought out.
But that idea sticks with you.
But I think about it a lot, and I think about it, and I think about it, and I sit there, and I'm at work, kind of just thinking about it. I'm just thinking about it because I'm like, there's got to be a train of thought that brought them there, and they're not dumb for having this idea. I'd say they're actually quite smart for, thinking outside of the box is a lot more important than being able to draw within the lines. I think most people will agree with that one, where it's like, if you can think farther than your aspirations can take you, they will eventually stick. If you throw a dart 100 yards onto a dartboard, it eventually will bounce there. Just eventually. I mean, that's a bad example. That was a really shitty analogy, Kyle. But, like, you get what I'm saying. Like, eventually you will strike gold. You will eventually know what you're talking about and have a really good idea. And does that mean that all of your, like with what we're doing right now, we want to do everything, we want to do a million things in this studio. Does that mean I expect all of them to work? I don't expect any of them to work.
Right now we're throwing the darts at the dartboard, see what sticks.
And not only that, but I'm just doing what I like. Like, I like just sitting here talking to you. Yeah. If we're in episode 50 and we're still getting 3 viewers, guess what? I will still be here, still recording this podcast. You know why? Because it's fun. It's just fun. I like sitting here talking about, Monster Hunter being a not so great movie. What number would you give it? To drop back into this little conversation. Like, out of 10.
4.
Ooh, that was lower than I thought. I thought you were going to give like a 6 or a 5. That means it's going to be a fucking 1 for me. I'm gonna find it stupid. Because, man, you are nice to movies. You are really nice to movies.
I'm incredibly nice to movies.
Like, you... Richard, I've never met someone who has just had like the most. You have a pain tolerance when it comes to bad movies. You have a real high pain tolerance. You like, because I can watch a bad movie with some good friends and enjoy it more than a good movie. But you will watch a bad movie by yourself and just leave it and go like, yeah, that was a good 6 out of 10, and I'm like, Richard, that was not a movie. Like,
you watch static on a screen for 4 hours.
But I think in turn that makes you a really good critic of movies, because if you think everything isn't that bad, then you have a decent, understanding of what's good. Yep. If something impacts you enough to where it leaves a lasting memory in someone who finds everything good, I think that's a good thing. For me, I don't have any movies that last in my brain. I have movies that I, think about.
Yeah.
That are really important to me, that I really liked. But there's no movies that last. There's a couple of movies that have lasted. That made me think about them for a long time. And I don't think they're great movies, but they just made me think. And it really impacted me. One was Chronicle. You've seen Chronicle?
I have not. Nope.
So Chronicles is a found footage film, like Cloverfield. Cloverfield was
Which
another
I
one.
thoroughly loved.
Cloverfield was another one that made me think. But Chronicle, it starts off as just kind of like high school setup, you know. There's this nerdy kid. He brings a camera to school, and I don't think that's allowed. And like, it's a big camera. It's like the fucking
Big ass one of those red cameras.
yeah, like a big filming camera. He's just allowed to bring it in school, I guess. I think he hides it a couple times. But like he just brings it everywhere because obviously it's a found footage film, and he has to. But they go to this party. They find this fucking cave that leads them to this alien thing that gives them telekinesis. Simple movie plot, you know. It's not the movie plot or the ideas that bring this movie together. It's the characters, because it's three guys that you would not expect. It's the like popular, like super popular kid, like class president, valedictorian, quarterback of the high, you know, like the stereotypical doing it all in high school. You know what I mean? There's just kind of this normal average guy. You know, he's kind of a chameleon. You know, he knows everybody. He hangs out with like the less popular kids. He hangs out with the regular kids. And then there's this kid that kind of, you know, everybody thinks is weird, you know, the guy with the camera. But he, like, nobody really hates him. I think even at the like, nobody really hates him. You know, they kind of just he's just a guy that they know. But all three of these guys get this power. And the movie cuts to instantly them, like, playing with this power. It doesn't do the thing where, like, I think we have powers. Like, it's just them in the backyard throwing baseballs at each other in the head. And they're, like, having a good time. They're being bros. They're having fun. And then the weird kid, as they throw it against him, he stops it right in front of him. And instead of doing, like, that weird, like, oh my god thing, they like start freaking out, like popping off, and it's super cool. And then there's a scene where they're making Legos with telekinesis. It's super, like, it's so real. And then they go to like a supermarket and start messing with people with their telekinesis.
I've seen that scene. They start messing with like a little girl, like start having a teddy bear float in front of her.
Yeah, and then there's this, and then it gets serious for a second because, you know, they start messing with too much. And they move a girl's car from one car spot to another, you know, and one of them starts bleeding out of their nose. And they're like, huh? And they're like, huh, well, why did that happen? And then they cut back to them hanging out again, and they're like, I think I figured it out. You know, it's kind of like a muscle. Like our powers, it's kind of like a muscle, you know, we got to work it out, you know, and yesterday when we were messing with it, we strained it too much, and, you know, it started bleeding. Like, so we've got to be careful not to work it out, you know, so we need to, like, start working out. Because all the powers are, the power is fully developed in this story, which is what really makes this story catch to me. Is that they know what they wanted to do with this power, they wanted it to be a certain thing, and they wanted it to happen. It's very good. There's a lot of movies that do this thing where, like, they introduce, like, weird powers, but don't really give it an extent or a reason or a limitation. We don't know where the fuck this power came from. We never find out where this power came from. The whole entire movie is based on that. And to say, I don't want to explain the entire movie, but the reason it made me think the whole time is the three characters that they introduce all represent different ideologies. There's literally optimist, neutral, pessimist. All three, the whole time. And these three ideologies clash with each other, you know? That's the whole point of the movie. Like, there's a really fucked up scene that I will not, because it's a big spoiler, and I'm not going to, because I want to watch the movie with you eventually.
Yeah.
If I find the movie, I'm going to fucking get it. But, like, there's a really messed up scene that's really sad. Really fucking, like, terrible. and you start diving into these characters and what they mean and who they are, and it makes the ending really, really impactful. And the whole time you're thinking, well, you're not even thinking about, wait a minute, they just fucking stumbled into a cave with some alien shit and fucking became superheroes. You forgot all about that because it's not about the powers. It's not about that. It's about the characters, and it's really, really good story writing. And that movie didn't get talked about at all. I have a funny story about that movie though. So I'm originally from Missouri. Before I moved here, and I went up to Missouri with my family around the time that movie came out. And I was hanging out with my buddy from school, and like we were catching up, hanging out. He had a date that night. He was like, "Do you want to go? I'll pay for your movie ticket." I'm like, "Sure." Like, what were we seeing? And what's that Daniel Radcliffe movie? It's like a horror movie. It's like set in like the Western, or not Western times, but like 1800s. It's like black something. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, well, him and his girlfriend were gonna go see that, right? Being the 7th grader that I was, and kind of being a bit of a jerk because I'm a 7th grader and I didn't realize, how dates work. I'm a dude. I'd never been on a date before. I fucking convinced him to go see Chronicle with me. After his girlfriend had already bought the ticket for the other movie.
Oh my god.
So his girlfriend and her friend went to go see that movie, and me and him went to go see Chronicle. and
Proud of you.
when I tell you, we both really enjoyed the movie, and then they came back and they were like, "That movie wasn't that very good." I was like, "Well, we loved our movie. Our movie was awesome." Yeah, and I've went back and I've watched that movie 100 times over, Chronicle, because it left such an impact on me. I just thought that was a really funny story because, I mean, it was. It just goes back to show you, man, you really didn't know what the hell you were doing when you were.
Well, anyway, we are creeping up on 2 hours, my guy.
Really?
We are, yeah.
So that clock is an hour short.
Yes, it is.
I was trying to keep track of that clock, and I was like, it's 11:30. I thought we've been talking for an hour.
Oh, yep, yeah. It's 1:56 right now.
Jesus. Well, this has been our longest podcast.
It has, yeah.
It feels like the shortest one too.
It does, yeah. I looked over the timer on the actual podcast, and I was like, oh shit, look, it's 1 hour and 13 minutes. And now we're at an hour and 57 minutes.
So it is. I've got to go soon. All right, well, I think we wrap it up here.
All right, man. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
This is a fun one. Remember, like, real talk to everyone listening. Like, listen, man. Listen to the people you hate.
If there's anything you take away from this,
yes,
not the movies. Please take away the listening and not being a dick.
Take it all away, I think. But like, listen to the people you think you hate, and stop hating them, and learn from them, because there's a reason you don't like them. There's a reason you don't agree with them. Listen to that, and I think that'll be something to think about, and we can all grow from. Bob Ross style.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think we're out.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, 2 hours.
Yeah.
All right. Later, guys.
See you.